The Art of Laziness. Sounds pretty good, right? But what if I told you this book is actually all about overcoming procrastination? It's kind of a paradox, I know. It's not a guide on how to be lazy, but a deep dive into why we're lazy in the first place. You know, the psychology behind it all. And once we understand that, we can finally break free. So let's jump right in.
Okay, so right off the bat, this book does not pull any punches. It throws you straight into the deep end with a really tough truth: the staggering cost of later. That whole "I'll get to it" mentality, it's not just about missing deadlines, it's about spending a currency you can never, ever get back. And that's your time.
And the author hits us with his question right at the start. So let's actually do it for a second. Just imagine you're 80, and you're looking back on your entire life. What will you regret not doing? Now, the point isn't to be morbid or anything. It's all about creating this powerful sense of awareness, right here, in this very moment.
It's so easy to think of time as this abstract thing. But what happens when we put a hard number on it? 3,700 weeks. That's about the average human lifespan. And think about it. If you're 30 years old, you've already used up over 1,500 of them. Gone. When you see it laid out like that, it stops being abstract and starts feeling really urgent. Every single week is like a precious, non-refundable token. And this really drives home what's at stake. The most common regrets people have, they're not about trying something and failing. Nope. They're about the things we never even got started on. Wasted time, forgotten passions, neglected health. So the question becomes, what's this trap that gets us here, and how in the world do we escape it?
So what's the biggest wall standing between us and taking action? Well, the book argues it's something we all know very, very well, that seductive but incredibly dangerous trap of the comfort zone.
This quote just sums it all up perfectly, doesn't it? Comfort feels safe, it feels easy, but it's a complete dead end for growth. Every single goal you want to achieve, everything meaningful you want to create, it all exists just outside of that cozy little space. And this right here, this is the daily battleground. Every single day, we're faced with these kinds of choices. The easy choice, binge watching a show, scrolling on your phone, it gives you that immediate low-effort pleasure. But the best choice, the one that requires some effort, that one pays off in massive ways down the road.
Now, it's really important to get this. This isn't some personal failing. It's literally a feature of our wiring. Our brains are built to conserve energy. But knowing that, well, that's our superpower. We can consciously choose to override that default programming and pick the best option, not just the easy one.
Okay, this next part is the real turning point of the entire book. It's a huge, kind of radical idea that changes everything. The absolute necessity of taking 100% responsibility for your life.
These are called harsh truths for a reason. I mean, they're tough to hear. But the message here isn't to make you feel bad. It's actually to make you feel powerful. Because think about it, if it's your fault, that means you have the power to change it. Blaming other people is easy, sure, but it makes you a victim. Owning it, that makes you the hero of your own story. The book uses this fantastic little parable to illustrate the point. It starts with a farmer, and his wheat is totally ready to be harvested. But instead of just doing it himself, he decides to wait around for other people to help him.
First, he tells a little sparrow who's nesting in the field that his sons will come tomorrow. They don't. Then he says he's hired some laborers to come. They don't show up either. Finally, totally frustrated, he declares that he's going to come harvest the field himself. And it's only then that the sparrow knows it's really time to move her family, because this time, the work is actually going to get done.
And that's the big lesson here, isn't it? So often, we wait. We wait for a hero, for the perfect opportunity, for someone else to do the hard work. But the truth is, you are the one you've been waiting for. Nobody is coming to save you.
So accepting responsibility is the crucial first step. But what does that actually look like in practice? It means shifting our focus away from endless planning and just doing. It means choosing immediate, imperfect action over waiting for a perfect moment that's never going to arrive.
I absolutely love this quote from the book. We get so stuck in what they call analysis paralysis, wanting to know every little thing before we start. But successful people know that speed is a weapon. Making a good decision now is almost always better than making a perfect decision later. To really drive this idea home, the book shares another brilliant parable. So, there's a farmer, and his only horse, his most valuable asset, runs away. Of course, all his neighbors come over to console him, saying, "Oh, that's such terrible luck." But the farmer's reply is simple and it's wise. He just says, maybe. He refuses to label the event as good or bad. He doesn't get caught up in despair or celebration. He just observes what happened and reserves his judgment.
Well, a few days later, the horse comes back, and it brings a whole herd of wild horses with it. The farmer is suddenly wealthy, so the villagers rush back over, this time to congratulate him on his incredible good fortune.
And again, the farmer's reply is the same, maybe. The point is, we waste so much energy judging events as good or bad. The wise person, the person of action, just deals with what is and keeps moving forward, without getting attached to either outcome.
So, we've learned to take responsibility and to act without judgment. This brings us to the book's final, super powerful point, which ties everything together with a really urgent call to action.
This ancient proverb is just a perfect conclusion. Yes, it would have been amazing if you had started that thing 20 years ago, or last year, or even yesterday. But you can't change that. What you have total control over is the second best time. And that time is always right now.
Let's be really clear about this. The perfect time is a myth. It's a comforting story we tell ourselves to justify staying exactly where we are. The only real time you have is this one, right now.
And so this all leaves us with one final empowering question. The power is completely in your hands. You've seen the cost of waiting, and you have the mindset needed to act. The only thing left to decide is what your first step is going to be. The best time is now. So what are you going to do with it? If this summary gave you the spark you needed to start your next big change, make sure to hit that like button. For more visual breakdowns of the world's most powerful books, subscribe to Lead with Spark and turn on notifications. We're here to help you master the best ideas in minutes, so you can spend more time taking action. What book should we deconstruct next? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and keep leading with a spark.